And following that torrential rain that caused floods in parts of Lagos, a newly constructed two-story building has collapsed at Cameroon Street off Awela, that's in the Mushin area of Lagos. The Permanent Secretary, Lagos State Emergency Management Agency, Olufemi Oke-Osoyintolu, in a statement said 7 rescued persons consisting of 3 females and 4 females have been taken to a nearby hospital for treatment as of the time of filing this report. Mr. Oke-Osoyintolu also said its rescue team has searched the rubble, confirming that there was no victim underneath the collapsed building, adding that the area had been cordoned off and that operations are still ongoing there. Now, to help us make sense of this weather condition and its impact on our environment, we're joined by environmental expert Desmond Majakudumi on the program this evening. Mr. Majakudumi, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
What a day it's been in Lagos, right? People were literally praying for the rain to stop. How do you explain the flood experience today?
Well, when you have what they call rain bombs, as opposed to rainfall, this is what happens. And that's what's going on, not just in Lagos, but different parts of Nigeria and different parts of the world. Because of the climate change, because of the global warming, we're experiencing rain bombs. That is, a large amount of rain will fall in a short period of time. Sometimes it can be rain that would normally fall over a few days. It can fall in just a few hours. And this overwhelms a lot of the systems that could be in place. But also, if those systems are not being very, very well looked after by everybody, whoever lives near a drain has to make sure that that drain is not blocked. That drain cannot be used as a garbage dump. That drain must be kept in a pristine condition. And then, of course, the government officials, the people, the authorities that are in charge, must also ensure that they assist in the clearing and the cleaning of these drains and canals. So this is the primary cause of this most unfortunate floods. We pray that there was no loss of life, even though there's obviously been very terrible disruption.
Indeed.
For our dear.
Absolutely. You know, the culprit usually is blocked drainages, and I raised that with the Commissioner for Environment earlier, but he seemed to have introduced a very unique dimension to this, and I want you to hear him. Are you saying that it is known that water will flood the roads whenever it rains and recede in another hour, and there is absolutely nothing we can do about it?
Now, for a coastal state like Lagos, when it rains heavily, the lagoon level will be up. Your rainwater discharges to the lagoon or the sea, whichever it is. But when the lagoon or the sea level is up, there's nothing you can do about it. You have to give it time for that level of water at the lagoon to come down. Then your rainwater, which is called stormwater, will now be able to discharge into the lagoon.
Majakudumi, what the commissioner is saying is that with the rains come a rise in sea level, which naturally poses flash flood challenges to coastal cities like Lagos. Do you agree with him? Does it mean that we are doomed to flooded roads anytime it rains in Lagos?
Yes and no. I think what he was more referring to was the fact that there is a natural rise, that is the lagoon waters. You know, the waters rise and lower, their ebbs. It depends on the gravitational pull of the moon and other circumstances. And Lagos is a very low-lying area. So when you have this heavy rainfall, these rain bombs, as we referred to, coinciding with a high tide, then the water literally has nowhere to go. So it's more difficult to control, but it's not impossible. And Lagos will be protected from this, because definitely over the next few years, maybe even over the next few months in this particular year, but in years to come, there are going to be far heavier rains. There's going to be far more frequent rains, and naturally, there's going to be the high tide. So Lagos needs to be protected, and this is a major intervention. However, we are trying, myself and some other organizations, particularly the Nigerian Conservation Foundations, we're actually working with the international community, trying to ensure that what they call adaptation funds should be available for Nigeria, and particularly for vulnerable places like Lagos, where we will be able to put comprehensive types of sea barriers in very strategic locations, so that even when the waters rise, lagoon barriers as well, we will be protected from this.
The rain started this morning, and some parts of the Third Mainland Bridge was unpassable. Imagine if the rain continued for 7 days. I mean, that's going to be terrible. But you agree that we still have drainage and lifestyle issues. Let's take a look at what NiMet is saying, for instance. You know, the fact that thunderstorms and rains across the country are expected between now and Friday, and it's anticipating high prospects of continuous rains in Lagos, which of course would lead to flooding like what we saw earlier today. Do you think we could have been better prepared with warnings of this nature?
Well, I must give full kudos to NiMet. They have been pretty accurate all along. Unfortunately, it is difficult to give a warning that is too much in advance, because there are other variables that can come into play. But one thing that we know for sure is, as I said, referred to earlier, there is going to be far heavier rains coming over the years, over the next few years. There's no stopping that because of the global warming. You know, more heat, more evaporation of the water, more heavy rain. And unfortunately, the waters are rising. The oceans are warming. So, yeah, this is a serious warning for Lagos. But I do believe that we are up to the task. And I do believe that the leadership will be able to make the right decisions and ensure that those decisions are implemented. And this is what I love about what's going on, particularly in the Ministry of the Environment. They are really going gung-ho. It's not the only ministry, Ministry of Health, Education, and Agriculture. There's a few other ministries that are really going. And the implication is that the leadership in these ministries, they understand the job description, that they are here to serve the people. And they also understand the implications, the spiritual implications of ensuring that they do the right thing so that they get the right sort of reaction. You know, is what you reap. And by the way, you know, get any.
Interesting. Lagos has been experiencing severe flooding since the 80s. You recall in 2011, the flood then displaced thousands of people. And, you know, the questions have risen as to what lessons we've learned and how we've responded, or how the state's response has evolved over the years. We'll talk more about that in a minute. Let's take a short break, and we'll be back, everyone.